Welcome friends at the Summary Club. Today we will briefly, but in detail, understand all the main advantages and disadvantages of swimming. And if swimming is solely a benefit, as many athletes and physiologists claim, then let's try to name the top 10 most compelling reasons to take up swimming. Although, as Winston Churchill said, "I owe my longevity to sports, I never played them." That's a very good point. That's why it's worth clarifying. Let's initially separate the concepts of professional sports and physical education. The purpose of physical activity is to gain health, to increase motor activity, to prolong youthfulness, and so on. The purpose of professional competitive sport is to sacrifice this very health and longevity in order to achieve some dubious athletic success. Therefore, speaking of the benefits and harms of swimming, we will talk about the amateur level and the passion for swimming, just to get health and maintain themselves in good physical shape. Swimming is a natural process. Unlike weight training at the gym, which often does more harm than good, swimming is a completely natural process. There is no heavy weight, as is often the case with barbells, for example, there is no excessive physical exertion, and most importantly, the human body is maximally relaxed, and it allows to take the load off the spine, which is a very favorable effect on it. But first things first. The naturalness of the swimming process can only be compared to the naturalness of running. Running and swimming are really designed by nature itself as the two most common types of activity for humans. But with running there is the problem of improper technique, poor quality shoes and too hard a surface, all of which together often led to the destruction of the spine and joints. Therefore, in the case of running, there are many important factors that determine whether running is beneficial or the other way around. This cannot be said about swimming because even with the wrong technique it is difficult to harm your health. At most, we could swallow a lot of water. On the other hand, and here it is important to measure, it is not quite reasonable to swim to total exhaustion and exhaustion, too. And most importantly, despite the relaxation of the spine, in the process of swimming almost all the muscles are involved, which allows you to develop harmoniously through the process of swimming alone. And now let's take a closer look at 10 reasons to take up swimming, a very useful kind of physical activity. Improvement of muscle tone is the main reason to take up swimming. Regardless of the chosen style of swimming, all muscle groups are worked out, which allows you to keep them toned. If you swim regularly, your muscle strength and endurance will increase. During the swimming process there is an even process of tension and relaxation of the muscles, which is a very positive effect on the process of their development. And the best part is that the water keeps the body somewhat weightless, which avoids excessive strain on the muscles. Therefore, this is the main reason to take up swimming. Development of flexibility and joint mobility. The movements of the arms and legs during the swimming process have a beneficial effect on the shoulder and pelvic joints. The spine itself stretches during the swimming process, and all vertebrae fall into place. Thus, even regular swimming can replace the services of a masseur and even solve problems with the spine and joints without any extraneous intervention. Swimming increases the flexibility of the joints in the neck, shoulders and hips, which also helps to prevent joint problems. Swimming for weight loss. Swimming is one of the most energy-consuming types of physical activity because, as already mentioned above, almost all the muscles of our body are involved here. In water the human body radiates much more heat, and as a consequence the energy expenditure is higher, which contributes to the rapid loss of excess weight. In order to lose weight while swimming, the following rules should be followed. Stay constantly afloat so that all the muscles are in constant tension. The second rule is to be constantly active so that the energy expenditure process does not stop. The third rule is that the most energy-intensive style of swimming is the butterfly style and should be preferred in order to lose weight. However, at the same time it is recommended to alternate swimming styles in order to give the body different types of loads. And the most important rule, it is not recommended to eat within an hour after the workout because eating will stop the process of burning calories in the body, and this is very important if you do swimming for weight loss. Also an important recommendation for the duration of training. To start the process of weight loss, the workout should last at least 30 minutes and the frequency of at least 2 to 3 times a week, and better still more.
Subscribe to the Summary Club and watch short versions of the most popular and useful videos every day.
Reinforcing other workouts. In professional sports, swimming is one of the components of GFP, general physical preparation. That is, regardless of the sport, many professional athletes engage in swimming. The reason for this has already been mentioned above. Swimming trains and develops the body in a harmonious way, which allows you to increase strength and endurance. And these indicators are important in any sport and just in everyday life. And most importantly, swimming allows you to recover from sports injuries because the relaxation of the spine and joints during the swim helps them recover. Improvement of the cardiovascular system. As mentioned above, swimming increases endurance. And such an indicator as endurance is primarily the endurance of the heart. Active movements during any style of swimming cause the heart to pump blood more actively through the body. As a result, it trains the heart muscle, improves blood flow, cleanses the blood vessels, and so on. Swimming is one of the most effective ways to prevent cardiovascular disease. Although if you already have a heart or vascular problem, then swimming can also be dangerous, but again, still less dangerous than most other sports. Improvement of the respiratory system. To train the entire respiratory system and develop lung volume, swimming is even more effective than running because the process of breathing during swimming is more difficult and it allows you to train the respiratory system more effectively. Increased ventilation of the lungs increases the tone of respiratory muscles, increasing the volume of lungs and their ability to absorb air. Moreover, because the process of breathing during swimming is difficult, it forces the body to activate even the most distant parts of the lungs, which prevents the occurrence of stagnant phenomena in them. Thus, swimming also contributes to the process of cleansing the lungs and airways. Improvement of the nervous system. Swimming has a beneficial effect on the central nervous system, balances the processes of excitation and inhibition in the cerebral cortex, and improves blood circulation to the brain. Swimming improves the nervous system and relieves fatigue and nervous tension. A high level of physical activity during swimming promotes the selection of hormones such as dopamine, serotonin and others that are responsible for feelings of happiness and good mood. Sufficient levels of these hormones in the body, in turn, improves sleep, attention and memory. Improvement of the immune system. Swimming is an effective means of hardening and improving the immune system. First of all, swimming allows you to accustom your body to low temperatures and teach it to react adequately to lower temperatures. Secondly, physical activity during swimming triggers the process of cleansing the body of poisons and toxins, and they largely provoke disease because almost any disease is a process of cleansing and removal of toxins from the body. Swimming allows you to cleanse the body without painful manifestations. Coping with stress. The state of stress is again a lack of happiness hormones, dopamine, endorphin, serotonin and others. And swimming, like any physical activity, not only removes stress hormones from the body, but also promotes the release of happiness hormones. From this point of view, swimming can be an excellent method of dealing with stress. At least, it is much better than eating stress or unsuccessfully spending money on a psychologist. Harm of swimming. But let's consider what is actually possible and harms of swimming. First, unless of course you are a walrus, swimming in rivers, lakes, seas and oceans is a very seasonal hobby. It will be quite cold in winter. And in our time, to swim, yes, exactly swim, not bathe, is sometimes dangerous because of the uncontrolled movement of boats, jet skis and other water transport. So if you like to swim a lot and far, then it is better to choose a pool. But even here you can find a number of disadvantages. Swimming in pools. You may ask, what is the harm of swimming in swimming pools? You won't get a jet ski on your head here, and you're unlikely to encounter a storm here. On the one hand, yes, everything is great. The water temperature is 25 to 27 degrees, it helps to navigate the track. But you have not thought about mass accumulation of people, you can catch fungus or other infectious diseases. And, of course, chlorine, which is used to disinfect almost every swimming pool. It can affect swimmers' lungs, causing symptoms similar to those of asthma. It can also damage hair, making it dry and brittle. Also, chlorine negatively affects the mucous membranes, inflaming the eyes. This is why swimmers wear special goggles. But the biggest possible harm of swimming is that, if you do not learn to swim properly, you can drown, especially if you go swimming unaccompanied by other people in bad weather. That is why you should first learn to swim in a pool or with experienced coaches and avoid diving or jumping into the water in places that are not meant for it. But otherwise, we, like most scientists and physiologists who study swimming, agree that swimming is the safest sport there is, which is why we even recently had a video with a ranking of the 10 safest sports. We advise you to watch this video and find out what place swimming took in this ranking and whether there are even safer sports. Well, at this point our top 10 reasons why you should start learning to swim have come to an end. You can also watch us about the benefits and harms of water in general, and you probably become interested in what sport is the most accessible and cheapest of existing, where swimming can also take its place. Well, our team of the Portal of Training and Self-Development advises you to look after yourself and exercise for health. And we, in turn, will replenish your knowledge with our educational information and fascinating videos on our YouTube channel. Be healthy and happy. See you soon. And friend, don't forget to subscribe to the Summary Club for becoming more successful, educated, kinder and wiser every day. Save hundreds of hours and dollars spending on boring regular education. Feel free to write your opinions and questions about each video. We read all the comments. In addition, go to our official website, where you can find reading materials or watch other videos on channel and links in the description. All the best.